Before dawn on June 6, 1944, as the world holds its breath, the English Channel convulses beneath the black sky, its surface crowded with the shadowed forms of an approaching armada unlike anything in history. Inside the cramped, reeking steel hulls, soldiers grip rifles with trembling hands, seasick, drenched, and terrified, yet bracing for a destiny they cannot yet see. Then, suddenly, the ramps crash open and cold surf swallows their boots as tracers streak overhead, ushering them into a world of fire. Machine gun bursts reek the waves, men stumble through bloody water, dragging themselves forward toward the looming obstacles ahead. Pinned down, crawling through wet sand, they push Bangalore torpedoes under wire, each explosion carving a narrow chance of survival. But above them, in the night sky, another battle has begun. Paratroopers leaping into darkness as scattered green lights flicker in the void. Some land hard in flooded fields, fighting free of their harnesses as gunfire zips across the horizon and burning steeples silhouette the night. At Pointe du Hoc, Rangers claw their way up the cliffs, ropes straining as defenders fire down through smoke curling from the heights. Inside the WN-62 bunker, German gunners unleash endless belts of MG-42 fire, their weapons chewing through ammunition and steel alike. Through the waves, surviving D.D. Shermans grind ashore, their guns firing even as water pours from their collapsing flotation screens. More ramps drop, more men charge forward, each step a defiance of the crossfire crisscrossing the shallows. Buddies fall, medics sprint, and smoke blankets the beach as survivors dash toward the next shred of cover. Landing craft reverse under withering fire, coxswains wrestle the throttles as sparks dance across their hulls. Elsewhere, Utah Beach, they advance with almost miraculous light resistance, pushing inward with disbelief etched on exhausted faces. At Gold Beach, British infantry advance past shattered bunkers as Churchill AVREs blast open the path ahead. In lonely hedgerows, paratroopers like Albert Blythe land alone, hearts pounding as the night closes in around them. On JUNO BEACH, Canadian troops storm ashore with DD tanks firing over their heads, driving a relentless wedge inland. At Sword Beach, British commandos push inland with grim precision, boots crunching on shingle as they move toward Caen. At Pegasus Bridge, airborne troops hold their ground through the smoke, securing a lifeline for the eastern flank. In St. Marie-Église, house-to-house combat ends with a flag rising over the church, the first liberated town in France. Out to sea, the horizon glows blood orange, the first hint of dawn breaking behind the armada. As the sun climbs, Omaha reveals its scale of devastation. Burning craft, shattered bodies, and men still pinned under merciless fire. In an orchard inland, Winters gathers scattered paratroopers with steady calm, cricket clicks echoing between the hedges. Naval guns thunder again, flinging massive shells inland, arcs of steel screaming over the heads of exhausted troops. At last, survivors reach the seawall, collapsing behind its concrete as the sun finally rises on a day that already feels endless.
Destroyers like USS Satterley close dangerously near shore, firing broadside after broadside to smash the bunkers choking Omaha. Through smoke and grit, men pour over the seawall and sprint toward the bluffs, courage outrunning fear. Small groups push up narrow draws, dodging rolling grenades as they claw their way toward the heights. At Pointe du Hoc, Rangers crest the cliffs and fan out through a moonscape of craters, searching for the guns that aren't where they should be. Naval shells finally silence the bunker at WN-62, the concrete erupting inward as the deadly MG-42 goes still. Second waves land over a beach littered with the fallen, medics working desperately among bodies drifting in the tide. Engineers blow apart hedgehog obstacles with satchel charges, opening new lanes through the killing ground. Winter's small group reunites in the orchard, cricket clicks guiding them like beacons through the uncertainty. At Merville Battery, British paratroopers stormed trenches in brutal, close-quarters fighting to silence the guns threatening Sword Beach. On Omaha, General Cota strides upright through the smoke, rallying shattered units with a shout that echoes across the sand, "Rangers, lead the way!" At Vierville, the draw opens. Men push inland past burning wreckage, the beachhead finally cracking open. Offshore, rocket ships unleash walls of flaming trails, their salvos vanishing into the smoke-choked shoreline. Rangers discover the Pointe du Hoc guns missing, only wooden decoys left in their pits, a chilling deception. As the sun rises higher, Omaha's tide finally shifts, troops and armor pouring inland after hours of near-impossible survival. In the hedgerows, Winters drags a frozen Blythe forward, refusing to let fear claim the young paratrooper. Engineers lay steel matting, enabling the first jeeps to roll across the sand without sinking into the mire. Carentan's causeways echo with gunfire as airborne troops secure their first major town of the invasion. Across the channel, the vast artificial mulberry harbors begin their journey toward Normandy, a logistical miracle on the move. At Brécourt Manor, Winter's assault destroys another German battery, each gun falling under coordinated precision. Daylight spreads fully over Omaha, tens of thousands now safely ashore in a landscape slowly shifting from chaos to order. Behind the seawall, medics establish aid stations, working tirelessly to save the wounded who've made it off the sand. German counterattacks flare up at Poupeville, but airborne troops hold fast, repelling each assault. Among shattered Horsa gliders, airborne troops regroup, shaken but resolute, their mission still unfolding. On Utah Beach, the 4th Infantry Division links up with the 101st Airborne. Beach and sky finally joined. Flags rise across the countryside as one objective after another falls, an early mosaic of victory forming across Normandy. Along the hedgerows, Winters leads Easy Company toward a deadly machine gun nest hidden behind the thick Normandy foliage. Brécourt Manor's guns loom ahead, 4 105mm monsters whose shells hammer Utah Beach, and Winters orders the assault. Toy rushes forward, grenade in hand, diving into the first pit. The explosion sends earth and steel skyward. Another gun falls as TNT tears through its crew. Surviving Germans stagger out of trenches with hands raised. Winters signals his men onward, bullets sparking against the third gun's shield as they press their attack. When the fourth gun is captured, the field falls silent. Easy Company stands victorious amid the smoking ruins. In Colville-sur-Mer, civilians emerge, weeping with relief as American troops move through their battered streets. Outside Saint-Côme-du-Mont, German counterattacks roar in. Paratroopers dig deep, returning fire from hedgerow shadows. Engineers blast gaps through the bocage with bangalores, tanks rolling through newly torn walls of earth and roots. Across narrow causeways, lined with flooded fields, troops inch forward toward Carentan's critical crossroads. Rangers searching inland find the missing 155mm guns camouflaged in an orchard, finally revealing the truth. Thermite grenades hiss and glow, melting the breaches, ensuring the guns will never fire again. By mid-morning, Omaha Beach is transformed. Vehicles crowd every inch of sand, supply lines stretching inland. German prisoners shuffle toward the beach, guarded, exhausted, the reality of the invasion settling into their eyes. Wounded men are carried on to returning LCAs, the ramp closing on their faces as the boat pulls back toward England. In the British sector, flail tanks batter minefields, chains whipping the ground as explosions clear safe passage. Canadian forces push 6 miles inland, maple leaves fluttering on their vehicles as they drive deeper into occupied France. Across open fields, British commandos link up with airborne troops, red berets and green berets meeting as planned. Cromwell tanks thunder toward Caen, dust clouds trailing behind them as the armored spearheads gather momentum. At Pegasus Bridge, Howard's men still hold firm, securing the critical crossings first seized in darkness. At Merville Battery, destruction lingers, the silence marked by empty helmets scattered among ruined pits. Utah Beach sees complete link-up between 4th Infantry and airborne units, thousands more pushing inland. Sainte-Mère-Église stands fully secure, the stars and stripes waving proudly above its historic steeple. In orchards, surgeons work under trees, performing desperate operations as the wounded arrive in endless waves. By midday, 80,000 troops fill the lodgment, the beachhead growing stronger with each heartbeat of the longest morning.
Along Hell's Highway, the 101st digs in, carving foxholes beneath apple trees as afternoon smoke lingers over hedgerows. German armor appears on distant ridges, silhouetted tigers and panzers rolling forward in grim counterattack. Bazooka teams surge ahead, their rockets streaking across fields. First tanks erupt in flame. At Corentin's outskirts, units from the 101st and 29th shake hands across a pasture, the long-awaited link complete. On the Bayeux Road, British armor rumbles past cheering French civilians, tossing flowers onto steel hulls. Off Omaha, Mulberry A components gather, massive caissons being positioned for the port that will feed an army. POWs are forced to clear mines under guard. Tension hangs heavy in fields dotted with danger. At Pointe du Hoc, the Rangers hold the battered clifftop, spent casings carpeting the ground. In foxholes, letters from home soften hardened faces, brief reminders of a world beyond the smoke. Near Lyon-sur-Mer, the 21st Panzer Division's assault is shattered, burning wrecks dot the horizon. Engineers throw a treadway bridge across a stream, tanks clatter across it the moment it's secure. Field kitchens open, steam rising as men line up for their first hot meal in more than a day. In the hedgerows near Formigny, British 50th Division halts another German thrust with disciplined fire. On Utah Beach, Seabees carve the first airstrip from raw earth. Planes will soon land where shells fell hours before. Easy Company reaches its objective near the Utah Causeway, Winters raising a flag along the hedgerow. A C-47 lands on the new strip. Troops cheer as its wheels touch down on Normandy soil. LSTs load the wounded for evacuation, the giant doors closing on men bound for safety at last. German artillery shells crash into beach supply dumps, sporadic, savage reminders that the battle isn't over. At Pointe du Hoc, reinforcements climb the frayed ropes, bringing water and ammunition to exhausted defenders. Shermans roll inland toward the road to Saint-Lô, engines growling under choking dust. French families return to shattered homes, children staring, wide-eyed at the passing columns of American GIs. Canadian infantry halt the 12th SS Panzer, burning half-tracks testify to their fierce stand. Behind Omaha, the first cemetery takes shape, rows of fresh graves marking the cost of the morning. The U.S. 2nd Armored Division, Hell on Wheels, rolls ashore in force, steel giants joining the push inland. By late afternoon, 156,000 men stand on French soil, the lodgment secure at last.
As daylight wanes, Easy Company digs new positions in the bocage, linking foxholes into a defensive web. A final German thrust near Hissville breaks apart under determined American fire. Exhausted, men collapse where they stand, finding sleep for the first time in 40 brutal hours. Chaplains hold quiet services among the fallen, prayers whispered as helmets pass from hand to hand. Sea rations warm over burning wrecks, steam rises as weary men savor a moment of calm. Omaha Beach has become a vast supply depot, order emerging from the ruins of morning chaos. Engineers complete a pontoon bridge over flooded ground, tanks thunder across its trembling spine. Night fighters streak overhead, strafing retreating German columns with lines of tracer fire. Rangers at Pointe du Hoc are relieved at last, new troops climbing the cliff as cheers rise from above. In the British sector, pipes and drums play as Guards Armored marches inland beneath a crimson sunset. Roll call echoes in the golden light, names of the missing stirring grief in the hearts of surviving brothers. General Bradley walks Utah Beach, boots sinking into the sand where so many fought and fell. Flags rise over every secured village, proof of a foothold carved from darkness and fire. Medics move among the wounded under Red Cross banners, working through the final light of day. In a barn lit by a single candle, Winters writes in his journal, face lined with exhaustion and resolve. Endless columns of POWs march rearward, the weight of defeat hanging heavy over every bowed head. Out at sea, naval guns fall silent, their thunder echoing away after a day of ceaseless fire. Mail arrives. Men clutch letters from home as if touching another world entirely. Dusk settles over a foothold held by 175,000 men and 20,000 vehicles, a miracle of courage and blood. Night falls, flares drift into the sky, painting arcs of red and green over the front lines. Sentries stand watch in hedgerows, eyes scanning a darkness suddenly alive with crickets once more. Under Normandy stars, exhausted soldiers finally sleep among the apple trees. The first light of June 7 appears on the horizon, marking an end to the longest day. Flags flutter in the morning breeze over every hard-won position across the Normand countryside. Another blood-orange sunrise washes the beachhead in gold. The bridgehead holds, and Europe's liberation has begun.